Ain't nothing like talking in front of hungry boys that want to get to some food. So I appreciate you guys giving me the opportunity to speak in front of you, Devon and the rest of the S.W.A.G team. This is an amazing opportunity, so I really appreciate it. What I want to do is start off by thanking you guys for being here, because there's so many things that young kids your age can get into, and a lot of times it's the girls, it's the drugs and alcohol, it's the social networking. You know, it's so much you guys can get into instead of being here with the rest of your teammates and family and the S.W.A.G organization. So first and foremost, thank you to you guys for even making it here, whether it was on behalf of Devon and his crew, whether it was your mom or dad who got you here, or whether it was yourself being proactive to get here. And a little bit about my background. So as Devon said, you know, I'm a Bay Area native, San Francisco, California. This was a trip up here, and I got 4 little ones that were in the car, so you guys have no idea what type of trip that was. But I'm excited to be here, and just like you guys have dreams of football aspirations. You know, I know a lot of you guys probably want to play in college or play in the NFL, and that's how things started for me as well. I grew up in a family of football players. My dad played in the USFL. He also played at San Francisco State University. He's a Hall of Famer at San Francisco State. My grandfather's actually in the NFL Hall of Fame. And one thing you guys will receive, and I'm so happy that Devon took the liberty of getting this for you guys, but I just wrote a book. It's called Before You Go Pro, and all of you guys will be getting the book at the end of camp or later. It also describes the highs and lows of the business of football. This isn't cupcakes. This isn't volleyball. This is football. And football has its highs and lows, and if you guys haven't seen them already, you're going to see them soon. And only the strong survive in football, on the field and off the field. So the book describes that I fell in love with football when I saw my grandfather walk across that stage and have that gold blazer placed upon his shoulder. I was only 9 years old. I was in Canton, Ohio, and I was like, wow, this is what I want. I don't want anything else. This is my first love. My wife probably wouldn't like to hear me say that, but football was my first love. I was 9 years old, and I slept with a football in my hand every single night. When I was on campus, I was a high school quarterback. I'm throwing the football up in the air, you know, and catching it. And I didn't care about anything else. Just like you see all the little basketball players dribbling the ball down the street. I was the same way, but with football. That's all that mattered to me. I wasn't the best student. I made mistakes on and off the field too. But I always made sure I was in line to get where I wanted to go with football. About what I wanted to speak to you guys about today was how did we get here? Because we all got here a certain way. Once again, maybe it was mom pushing you. Maybe it was dad. Maybe it was you being proactive. So I want to talk to you guys about how I got here in front of you guys today. First and foremost, I intended to be in front of you. This isn't by accident. I'm a big believer in divine purpose. I'm a big believer in attracting what you want. So none of us are in this room by accident. I was a football player. I was fortunate enough to go off to the University of Colorado. When I went to the University of Colorado, full scholarship, straight out of high school, it wasn't the University of Colorado that you see getting mopped up and down the field today in the Pac-12. The University of Colorado I went to, when I ran out on the field my true freshman year, we were the #1 preseason team in the country. So it's like you going to Florida State today. That's the school I went to. Sacrifice, you guys. You could be doing a million other things, but you're here with S.W.A.G. I know you guys got up early to practice. I know you guys are practicing after this, when all your friends are sitting at the house. But because you guys are putting in the preparation and work that they won't, you'll have things that they don't. So how did I get here today? Let me tell you about that. I went off to the University of Colorado with big-time dreams. I was a cornerback, came from a family of defensive backs. All we talked about was football. I didn't sit at home on Saturdays and watch football leisurely. I sat at home with my dad and we studied the game. My mom could tell you guys how to backpedal right because she was around football players. So growing up in a house full of football players, go up to the University of Colorado, and I didn't go to a high school that was like a De La Salle or Modern Day or Bishop Amat. The high school I went to had produced kids, but I was 2 and 8 my junior year, 4 and 6 my senior year. And I was the quarterback, so it's on me, right? But when you're working hard, sometimes you stand out amongst the rest. And I was able to stand out, plus I had some family lineage. So I had a scholarship to Virginia, Arizona State, Oregon, Colorado, all the schools you could think of. A lot of the schools that you guys look at today, I had my choice. And I was on a 4 and 6 team. I went off to the University of Colorado because I thought that was the fastest route for me to get a Thorpe Award and go to the NFL. See, I already had the intent on what I wanted. But unfortunately, once again, it wasn't the school that you see today. When you go to a Colorado or even a Florida State now or Oregon, they're not reloading. They've got guys waiting on the bench to play. And that's a lot of times you guys see a game where somebody goes down, somebody else comes in, they're better than the person that went down. And it's because they got so much talent at these schools. You guys got to get out the box. And what I mean by getting out the box is we tend to think all we see in our area or all we see on our team is all we're competing against. You guys are competing against so many kids that want the same thing you guys want. You guys are good. Where's my seniors at? Kids that are about to be seniors. Yeah, right there. There's so many of you guys. This is a big year. You guys aren't just competing against high school kids. You're competing against JC kids too that want the same thing that you want. And there's only so many scholarships to go around. Roughly about 22 per team. So go up to University of Colorado. The guys that I'm sitting behind, I get on campus, these guys just as fast as me. These guys can jump like me. They can run like me. So then it gets to, it's not about talent, you guys. Once you go up to a big school, or even if you go to a smaller school, it doesn't become about talent anymore. It becomes about who wants it and who's going to be strategizing to get in the right position for the coach to call their number. It's not about talent anymore. Everybody's talented. Corners from Houston, Ohio, everywhere. They're all talented. So I go off to this school and I spent a couple years playing special teams, sitting behind guys, but everybody in my secondary got drafted. So I'm in the right spot, right? If everybody's getting drafted, I'm in the right spot. Then, coaching change happens. Got recruited by a guy named Rick Neuheisel, sat in my house, said, I will never leave your son until he leaves the University of Colorado. Because at the time, he was getting rumored. He was a young, hot coach. You probably see him on the Pac-12 network now. He was being rumored to NFL for NFL coaching jobs. So my dad got him in the house, and he said, hey, I hear that you may be going to the NFL. Is that true? He said, Mr. Wood, I promise you, as long as Terrence is here, I'll be there this whole career. You guys know how long I played under Rick Neuheisel? 1 year. You got it. 1 year. So now Gary Barnett comes, and I don't have a choice. I got to play for this man and find a way to get in good grace with this man so I can get on the field and still live that dream. But me and Gary Barnett were like this. A lot of times when there's a coaching change, you guys, you want to talk business, and it's in the book. A lot of times when there's a coaching change, especially at the pro level or college level, the coaches want to get their guys in. They want to get their guys that are going to believe in their system and that fit their system. And I didn't necessarily fit Gary Barnett's system, so now we got a problem. You can either run and hide or you can find a way to get in good. And unfortunately, I was young and dumb. And instead of finding out how to get in good with this guy, me and him were like this, butting heads. My college career was a roller coaster. I might have 2 interceptions versus Texas A&M, come back the next game and act like I don't even know my playbook. So what happened was, like I said, roller coaster ride, had some opportunities for the NFL, but I blew my opportunities because I wasn't doing the right things off the field. I was really into the ladies. I said, hey, if this guy ain't going to get me in front of the camera so I can be charismatic in front of the camera, but let me be charismatic in front of these ladies. And I was at all the parties. I was the man to know if you on a recruiting trip, they ship you to me because I'm going to show you a good time. But that's not what I went to the school for. I didn't go to the school for partying. I went there to win a Thorpe Award. So I'm doing the wrong things off the field, and coaches know what you do. Even at the high school level, they know who's doing what on and off the field. And they especially know at the college and pro level because their contract is affiliated with your success. If you're not succeeding, I got to find the next kid who will. You guys look like brothers. You got a brother? I got to find the next guy who will. So I got to know what you're doing off the field. And not all of us are Colin Kaepernick talent. We all think we are. Or LeBron James. We all think we're not all that talented. A lot of us got to fight for what we get. There's only 2% that are that talented where they may mess up off the field and the coach still has to play him because he's just that talented. We're not all that way. And I wasn't that way. So I wasn't working as hard as I should have been off the field and on the field. And what happened? My career suffered. So instead of having opportunities that other guys had to get drafted and go right into the NFL red carpet, I had to try to go as a free agent. And unfortunately, I wasn't treating my body right, so I popped my hamstring. Literally, Green Bay Packers, that's where my grandfather played, flew me out. They said, run the 4-4. That's something I had done since I was 14 years old, and we're going to sign you today. And I said, oh, easy, I got this. And as soon as I got down and got out my stance and got going, I popped my hamstring. There were 4 other guys on that workout. They signed everybody but me. So hard lessons. When you're not ready, you're not prepared, you learn hard lessons. I had a 1-year-old child at the time, so there was a lot riding on that workout. And unfortunately, I didn't get it. So part of the reason why I'm in front of you guys today is because I let my dreams slip through my hands. If I would have had a substantial career in the NFL, who knows if I'd be in front of you guys today? I might not even have time. A lot of these guys act like they ain't got time. But I make the time for young men like yourselves. I own a business. I wrote a book, and the business is before you go pro as well. And what I do is I mentor young men mentally, morally, and academically. And it's an online-based business, so we work with young men across the country. I've got kids at Colorado, at UCLA, at smaller schools like Pace University, Cal Poly. I work with kids across the country, you guys. And the main reason why I work with them, and I'm so gracious to Devon to let me speak to you guys, is because I don't want you guys to go through the same thing that I went through. These opportunities are precious, and the windows, they go by like that. They go by like that, and if you guys don't capitalize on it, the next man will. Being at something like this with the S.W.A.G organization, this is precious. I wish I would have had something like this when I was coming up, because maybe it would have kept me right mentally. This is precious, you guys, and you should treat it that way. So I had to learn the hard route. I played in the Arena League, I played in Canada, and I blew through so many NFL opportunities, it's ridiculous, because I wasn't right mentally. They kept feeding me opportunities, Buffalo Bills, Raiders, Niners, and I blew through them all. Because I wasn't right mentally. Once again, it gets past the talent. And it's what do you want to do mentally? Are you prepared to get after it? There's always somebody waiting by the phone. Always, for your job. And when you get the job, it's even harder to keep it. So I went from playing in front of 80,000 people at the University of Colorado. You go off and play Texas. You play SC at the Coliseum versus Carson Palmer. Done all that. Went from playing 80,000 people to getting a lot of respect to pulling out a couch with a bed at my mom and dad's house. And filling out applications for jobs that I had no business filling out applications for. I was working at a Holiday Inn Express one, doing a graveyard shift just to put food on the table for my young family. Praying to God, you guys, every time that sliding glass door opened and another guest came to check in, you know what I'm talking about, Coach. Praying to God that nobody that knew me from my superstar days came in there and said, Terrence, what are you doing in here? You know, I was in the Bay Area back home working, doing graveyard shifts, so somebody from the high school could have came in. Teacher, old girlfriend, friend from the school, anybody could have came. And I was almost having panic attacks, you know, every time that sliding glass door opened. I think 50 Cent got a song saying, you know, you used to be the man, what happened to you? You know, that was me. That was me. And that's when I started writing this book. Because I had to look in the mirror, you guys, and I said, man, it wasn't supposed to end up like this. It wasn't supposed to end up like this. You know, multiple scholarship offers, playing in front of thousands of fans. It wasn't supposed to end up like this, where I'm checking people in at a Holiday Inn Express. I could have saved myself and not went to college and done that. You know, barely putting food on the table for your family. That's when I started writing this book. So this is different than any other book you guys are going to read. It's dedicated specifically to you guys. It tells my story, it tells the story of others, but it's a teaching book. It's a coaching book. That's what I do at heart. I coach young men like yourselves. So that's a coaching book. A lot of the stuff you guys are going through or you will go through soon, I'm coaching you through it. Because I love you guys, I love what you guys are about and what you're trying to do. And the industry isn't necessarily meant for you. That's why it's who's next. Who's next? Somebody goes down, who's next? I'm not worried about making sure you're okay, because it's who's next. If I don't got nobody deep who's next, then me and my family pack up our bags and we have to go live somewhere else. So who's next? You guys that may be getting recruited, you're next. And you guys got to go out there and scrape the plate. That's what I call it, scrape the plate. You're going to have a bunch of opportunity thrown your way. You guys want to go off to college, you're going to have a bunch of opportunity thrown your way. If you make it, you got to scrape the plate. They're going to get theirs. When they say jump, you say how high. They're going to get theirs. You got to make sure you get yours. And that's what I didn't do in college. But that's why I'm talking to you today. And I believe that everything is meant to be. You know? So we're going to have some time to answer some questions and different things like that, because this is what I do. This is my bread and butter. I get butterflies and get juiced about this, just like when I used to walk through the tunnel playing against USC or somebody. Same feeling. And that's how I know I'm in my niche. I was working corporate America. And you got to bounce yourself up, you guys, because you're not groomed for life after football unless you pursue being groomed for life after football. Nobody's just going to put that on your doorstep. Because once again, I don't get paid for you if I'm the coach at Oregon or if I'm Steve Sarkisian at USC. I don't necessarily get paid for what you do after college. I get paid for what you do at the Coliseum. So I'm not necessarily, I may say, and some coaches are sincere with that they want to see you do good after college, and even if you don't go to the NFL, we want to see you make something of yourself. Some coaches are sincere with that, and hopefully you guys can find that coach. But most of them are concerned with what you do on the field, because once again, that's their paycheck. You have to pursue that. So, you know, that's what I'm all about, is getting you guys ready on and off the field. And coaches can tell the difference. When they come and recruit you, they're going to ask you questions that are going to give them the indicators on whether or not you're even thinking about anything after football. And the ones that, if I got a kid from Georgia that's a linebacker and he's right here, I got a kid from LA that's a linebacker and he's right here, but the one from LA knows what he wants to do with his life and he's got that look in his eye, then I'm probably taking the kid from LA. Because once again, I only got 22 scholarships. So let's talk numbers, because I was managing a sales team, corporate America, and I was eating up inside saying, oh my gosh, I was making good money. I had to pull myself up, because you put football on a job application, they say, wow, that's great. They ask you questions about, oh, you played against Carson Palmer, you played against so-and-so, but then you're not getting the call back for the job. So they're interested in you, but they're not giving you the call back for the job because somebody else is more qualified, and all you know is football. So you pull yourself up because you guys are competitors. You guys are handsome young men and you know how to speak and you're competitive. So you pull yourself up. So I went from working that job where I was terrified of somebody walking, seeing me swiping cards, credit cards for the Holiday Inn Express. You guys have no idea all the crazy stuff I seen there. Manager of a team of 8 people and they were all older than me. But I was a hustler, you know, I was in sales and I'd hustle and I'd work and I was competitive. So they said, oh, we got to get this dude, we got to move him up. We got to move him up. It's no different than on the football field. You're trying to get on, you're a freshman at Oklahoma and you're hustling and you're working and you're getting in guys' chests up at the line of scrimmage and they say, oh, we got to move this guy up. He's got to be a starter. Same thing in corporate America. But I was eating up inside, you guys, because I wasn't doing something that I really wanted to do. And that's when I started really getting deep in this book and building our business, which once again touches kids across the country. And then that's when I said, oh, those butterflies are back. If you guys play football and you don't feel butterflies or you don't feel juice before you go out there, whether it's a practice or a game, this might not be the thing for you. This might not be the thing for you. Because once again, this isn't volleyball, this isn't ping pong. You know, this you got to get amped up for this football thing. If you want to do something substantial with it. So evaluate that. Is this mom pushing me out there a little bit more? Or is this something that gets me pumped up? Is this something that's my first love? So since I was in sales, I want to talk numbers. Because numbers, I used to teach my team, you can't beat the numbers can't beat you. Socialsecurity.com website says that the average income in the United States today, or actually in 2012, is $44,000. That's the average. You can't beat the numbers can't beat you. So you wonder what your parents make? It's probably in that range. Some of them may make over, some of them may make under. I may have 2 parents, and that's double. I may have 1, and it's 44. Do any of you guys know what it costs to go to Southern Cal or University of Cal Berkeley, private institution? $45,000. It's gonna range depending on if you're living on campus and doing all the good stuff. It's gonna range between $35,000 to $50,000. You know, SC, Michigan's about 53. You guys want to play for a Wolverine? You want to walk on? 53,000. We need it today before you start practice. Where is it coming from? Mom, dad, loan. Where is it coming from? 53,000. We need it. So there's a dilemma there. Because I got 4 kids. And one day, yes. But right now, I'm not paying for all of them $44,000 each. They're going to have to find a way to make it happen. So here, $44,000 is your income check. Here, $44,000 for my kid to go to school. No money left. So most likely, you guys, mom and dad can't afford that check. They can't afford it. Working, I can't afford it, baby. I love you to death, but I can't afford it. So in many communities, and I'm assuming for most of you guys in this room, football is a big old door, a big old window of opportunity for you guys to walk through. It was for me. It's a big old door, but that door don't come cheap. It doesn't come cheap. And when we start talking about people of color on some of these college campuses, that we're really getting into some bleak stories. Try 3.8 at UCLA out of thousands upon thousands of kids there. Black kids, 3.8. That means you're not on campus. When I went to the University of Colorado, I didn't see too much of myself. So what that taught me was that, I got a unique opportunity. You don't go, and for the parents in here, forgive me, But I'm going to keep it real with you guys, and I think that's why Devon brought me here. You don't go for college for the books, the textbook. You don't go to college for the textbook. You guys know what you go to college for? You know what college is about? You go to college for who you're going to meet. The movers and shakers of the world are in college. And some of them don't finish, and it might be because I'm from the Bay Area. We got Stanford out there. They might not finish, but they probably got a damn good idea when they leave.